What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of The Flame and the Flood. My name is Splattercat. Happy to have you here today as we hang out for a little while and try and survive a tad longer. Let's grab ourselves some... Oh, we got clean water out of that barrel. Ask and ye shall receive. So that actually takes a little bit of the pressure off of us right there. Make use of that. The other thing that we have found in the previous episode, we had gotten locked in on some band-aids, some long-term medical supplies. We need dandelions and clean water. Helps alleviate the symptoms of food poisoning. Okay, dandelion tea. I suppose that's like pine tea. You just kind of alternate. Pine tea is this thing that you can make when you're out in the wilderness out of pine needles and boiling water, essentially. You can make pine tea if you're ever in a situation where you're hungry and you need to rehydrate. A cup of pine tea got a good 30-40 calories in it, and it hydrates you. So while it's not a lot, it's something. And so if you're in a situation where things aren't going well, it can help you out a little bit. I'm going to go for 5 hours of sleep right there. And even though that's a little bit longer than I'd like to stay at this location, I think it's going to give us a chance. Pretty sure I hear the sound of a wolf off to the southeast quadrant of this map. So we're going to be up and out. Should I purify my water right now? I should probably purify my water right now. I don't suppose I have any tinder with me. I don't have any tinder, so let's make ourselves some real fast. The plus side to this is that I have loads and loads and loads of cattails, so we should be able to do this pretty easily. I'll probably make 3 of those, and then I'll probably make 5 ropes, just so I'm getting rid of stacks in order to make room for stacks. And so we'll make 5 of these right here. If we can make ourselves a couple, we need a knife too. So if we can find ourselves a couple of flints and like a little piece of wood, we can make ourselves a blade. It's unfortunate that she's in a survival situation without a blade, and if I had to recommend anything to you that you would bring along with you when you were trying to survive, it would be bring as many knives. No, not as many knives, but just get yourself like a good Mora knife or something like that. Like, Mora knives are my favorite survival knives because they're cheap. They're like $11. They're like master crafted. I think they make them in... I think Sweden is where they make them at. You make them in Finland or Sweden. Anyways, the blade is like so sharp that if you drop a piece of paper on it, it'll like cut a fat chunk out of it. Nice little knives for the price that you pay. People ask me what survival knife I like a lot of the time, and I'll say the Mora knife every single time. Not flimsy. It'll work for anything you need it to work for, and the blade is so sharp almost to a fault. We've got another survival location off to the right, but it's going to take some finagling to get over there, and I think that's a risk that I'm not willing to take right now. I would have had to shoot the gap on that rock back there, and I think it just wasn't going to be... It wasn't going to be feasible based on where we were positioned. Luckily, we got to rest up, so we've got enough time right now to survive for another day or two. We've already beaten our last distance traveled by a considerable amount. We're already like 0.4 kilometers farther. I'm going to try and slow it down on the rapids here for just a minute to try and make sure that we don't hit any of those rocks. There we go. And on working our way through, I'm trying to read the currents here, but unfortunately, they are quite illegible. That's exactly what I wanted to do right there. Fantastic. I love it when a... Oh, shit. I love it when a plan comes together. However, whew, okay. So now that we made it... we need to stay on the right. If we don't stay on the right, we're not going to be able to shoot for this campsite over here. It's the middle of the day, so we need to make hay while the sun's shining. Literally. I don't know what side... It looks like that's going to be on the left-hand side of the bluff. It's hard to tell, but I think that's going to be what we're looking for right now. And there may be one right on the opposite end of this if we play our cards right. Our hand is looking strong. I'm excited about this game. You know, I kept this game mostly blind because I wasn't sure what to think about it so far. Every now and again, I get sent like a big handful of survival games that are in very early development. And sometimes what happens is I get these games and I just can't put them on the channel because there's no game there. But if a game is actually like this one where it's got stuff to craft and things to do within like the first early access period, then I'm usually pretty excited about it. I'm going to fire up some tinder here real fast. I don't know what it is about that flame effect, but I love it. I like looking at it. It looks good. I think I should be able... We can make a gas bomb. What does that do? Sumac in a jar. And so does that... Do we throw that at our enemies, maybe? Stink them on up and make them run away? That's what you get. I'd rather make something that kills the wolf while we're on the subject, but... Perhaps overall brutality with nature is not a thing we want to look at right now. Stay the hell out of its way and play it safe. We got 4 waters coming in right here. That's going to keep us going for at least 3 to 4 more days. I don't know how big the jar is, but I assume it's got to be at least like a liter-sized jar. You might be alright off that. I'm going to go ahead and consume one of those real quick. Got the ropes on us. I could use... Well, we're looking pretty solid right now. I'm going to eat the remainder of the dandelions real quick. Part of me wants to preempt part of me wants to go ahead and make some tea out of that while we're here, just in case we end up with food poisoning so that we have a way to get rid of that. It seems like a smart idea. Keep my medical supplies. Let's actually... Yeah, let's do that. Let's make some pine tea. That is going to use up some of my water. But does it give me hydration would be my question. It doesn't. So I'm using up one of my water rations. Well, let's make one. I mean, we might as well make some new items, right? We've never seen it before in the game. So let's go ahead and make one. I mean, it might not be... Oh, it gets hydration 40 and hunger 10. So it's a better plan to make as much dandelion tea as you can, because that's going to be a much better multi-purpose drink than anything else. You at least get the amount of materials out, and it only takes up one inventory slot. I'm going to eat that corn real fast. If I found a supply of corn, I'd be making ethanol out of that stuff. I don't know, though. I'm kind of like a stationary survivor. I wouldn't move around a whole lot. I would find a location where I felt like it was green enough. Oh, there's a wolf awake right now. Eating himself a rabbit. I gotta sort of hope that since he's occupied, he's not gonna bother with me. And so that's what I'm gonna gamble with my life on right now. I'm gonna assume that he got nothing else going on. And since he's already enjoying his dinner, he's got himself a full wolf tummy, that I'm not gonna have to deal with his shenanigans for right now. It looked like there might be something back up in here. Nah, it's just like a random little crevasse into the crevice of the mountain. The mountain's like, I enjoy it when you're inside of my crevice. Oh my! It's so exciting and scintillating and enjoyable when you're in my crevasse. I don't know if I can sneak around behind that wolf. Oh, I can, and there's shelter over there too. This crate is realistically too valuable to leave behind. My inventory is now full. Christ. Alright, so let's throw that on the raft. Let's throw that on the raft. I'm gonna grab myself some water real quick. You know, it's nighttime. And we could use a little bit of rest. I'm gonna risk it. We got enough band-aids to where we might be able to make this happen. Let's sleep for, say, 5 or 6 hours, and hopefully by daybreak he's gonna be sleeping? Yes? No? Maybe? Got some yucca over here, but our inventory's full. Where's that wolf at? Oh, shit, there he is. Nope, don't want that right now. No, run away. Running away from a wolf so he doesn't bite me in my face, because this is a song about biting in the face. Time to leave. Ain't nothing but a lowercase t in this location. Let's bounce up out of here. We narrowly survived that one, but that was some solid scavenging right there. That was some solid scavenging. I'm going to try and force myself onto the right-hand side of the river. I always wanted to learn to play harmonica. Never got around to it. I could play the ukulele, I could play the guitar, I could play the piano, I could play the drums. Ain't never gotten around to a harmonica, though. I need to. Kind of a cool instrument. I asked for one for Christmas a while back, but didn't happen. Didn't happen. So, I mean, I don't know. I could just go buy one myself. If we got ourselves a wolf over here... Technically, we're looking pretty solid right now, so I wouldn't... What in the hell? Somebody just banged on my window. That was weird. A little concerning. Like, ah! Made me jump. I don't know. I live in a noisy complex. It is what it is. I'm going to eat these mulberries real fast because I don't think they're going to be that useful. And they're eating up a slot in my inventory that I otherwise don't really need. Go ahead and grab both of these dandelions over here. Although, since I'm next to a fire, I could technically turn that into more dandelion tea. Still not really that concerned about it. We'll leave it where it lies for right now. We got enough cattails to get shit done. So I'll probably eat a couple of those too, just to buy us some time before I have to deal with any of our other statistics. Everything else is pretty much full, so I might as well make this full too, right? A little bit more cattail on this side. I'll probably convert that into tinder or something. We can get ourselves some suspicious water off of that side. You should definitely smell water before you drink it when you're out in the wilderness. It'll have kind of like a weird musty smell to it if it can't be trusted. Sometimes water takes on the characteristics of whatever it's inside of, though. So if the water smells woody, that's not necessarily anything you have to worry about when you take it out of a barrel. If it smells metallic when it comes out of a metal barrel, not something you have to be really concerned about. But I mean, it'll have like a very sort of earthy, almost mildewy smell. If you don't want to drink it. Either way, I'd boil everything just in case. I don't care what it smells like. I'm probably still going to boil it if I don't think anybody's coming by. But let's pick those mulberries clean on this side. Got no room for an extra sapling. A little bit of aloe right there. Let's put that. Oh, that bunny scared me. I'm sorry, my dog scared me. I was like, ah, the wolf! I got scared for a second. He was like, yeah, you thought I was a wolf. That's because I'm the toughest dog in the hood. When they run up in here, I come out barking and be like, woof, woof, who's on the block? Woof. Gangster dog. Little dogs are always gangster like that, though. Little dogs think they're super tough. I know that because I grew up with Chihuahuas. Little dogs think they're the hottest shit on the block. I'm like, come get some. And it never works out for them, like ever. That's why little dogs are always getting eaten by coyotes and big-ass dogs at the park and shit. On this side, we could purify some water if we wanted to take a moment. I think I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take a moment. Treat it like the cookie in the aptly named cookie jar. Doesn't look like there's anything I could craft right there from the materials menu. We still need a knife before we can make any of the more complicated stuff. So for right now, we're just going to be securing our water supply for a little while longer. We're on day 3. We've made it 4 kilometers. I think I'm getting better at sailing. Like, I'm getting better at rafting. I think that that's the one skill that I've picked up. In addition, I've learned how to duck wolves, too, pretty well. It looks like if they've got a rabbit on them, they don't bother you anymore. But the rabbit only lasts for a little while. We can't make any traps or catch anything until we get ourselves a knife. So we'll wait that on out. That's a lovely trick, but I don't know if I would trust the dog to catch the stick every time I threw it out like that. We can go to the fishing shack over on this side. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's go to the fishing shack. Watch, it's going to pull you to the left right there slightly if you're not careful. So watch the little currents in the water. I don't know if they're totally programmed yet. Hogbacks Glen. If you don't know what a hogback is, it's just a big hill that looks like a hogback. It's like a hill with a lump on either side and kind of like a little mini hill in the middle of the 2 lumps. It's a hogback. It's a geographical term. It's one that people that do a lot of backpacking and whatnot will use. It's one that I hadn't heard until I became outdoorsy and got my geology degree and all that. Good old me like, meet me 2 miles over yonder over the hogback right there, and I'll see you on later. Take care now. Get up in this thing. It looks like we got some night crawlers. I'll probably eat those straight off the bat, actually, or straight off the crate, as it were. We have a lot of backup supplies right now that I don't necessarily think we have need of. We got some dubious water. I'll go ahead and I'm going to put those on ASOP for a moment. I really wish I could move like an entire stack. That would be super cool. Hopefully that functionality will be in the future. I'm going to put that on a raft because there's room for it there. I think the rags, I'll probably put those on ASOP because I did say something about medical supplies always being on ASOP. And now that we got that rectified, we got ourselves a good amount of saplings, and I think that's going to be solid, like super solid, once we're able to sit down and actually make booby traps and, you know, leg traps, whatever traps you want. We've got enough jerky to get by for a bit, but it's going to be a waste to eat it right now. I figure I'll take one. No, I'll take that one right there. Move it to my bag, and then I'll drink that real quick. And then we've got suspicious water. I don't want to get dysentery, so I'm not going to play around with that right now. We do have some night crawlers, so those make a fairly solid meal in this game if you don't have anything else. I mean, it gives you 20 hunger, which is as much as beef jerky. I don't know if you all have ever, or you guys have ever caught a night crawler before. It's just a big-ass worm. That's all that it is. It's like an enormous snake-like worm that you dig out of the ground. You don't see them too much around here where I live. We got millipedes, centipedes, but you don't too frequently, where I'm at, see any night crawlers around. I've seen them on occasion, but not very often, so not a thing you'd see around here, but I assume that'd be the kind of thing you would find out in kind of like hummus, things that you would find like in a forest where the earth is very, very wet, but at the same time it's got kind of like that thick top layer. Let me see if I can snipe this real quick. Ain't nothing like a freebie. Get ourselves. I wish that disappeared after you went by it. It'd make me happier if it did like a little shining thing where it was like shing, and it was all excited, like shing, like Ezio when he pulls out his wrist blades, because he's so cool. Someday I'm gonna be like Ezio and Chad Thomas won't shove my head in the toilet anymore. Goddamn Chad Thomas. Let's go on this side. That's like one of my favorite voices. Nope. I need you to be over here because we need shelter. So let's go ahead and make that happen. We're going to rest right here no matter what happens because I think we're just about at the end of our fatigue. Yeah, we're about halfway down, which is usually where I find it's best to recline for a while and feel a tad better. A little bit more water over here. Got some suspicious water. I'm not going to play around with that. I'm not going to worry about purifying it because there are other things to get done. If we can grab a couple of dandelions from over and in here, we might be able to make ourselves a whole bunch of dandelion tea. Got mulberries on this side. Actually, a grip of mulberries on that side. So that's going to work out really, really well. I think this map came stocked with a wolf the last time we were here. And so I don't know if the wolf is like a binary, like if one then true type deal. You know, like he's sometimes here and he's sometimes not based on the random generator, or if the wolf is always on certain maps with certain configurations, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm going to eat these right now, because otherwise I'm just going to throw them away anyways. You'll get the scoots. That's the exact same thing that I say. You don't want to eat too many berries when you're out in the wilderness. Get you into trouble. That roughage, it's just too much for the stomach to handle sometimes. I'm going to take it slowly. Take it very slowly when it comes to eating berries and coconuts and anything that kind of grows in the wild. Make yourself sick. Man was not meant to only eat an herbivore's diet. We are omnivores for a reason. Let's see. We've got clean water right there. I could clean up some of the suspicious water, and in so doing, that would free up space for a whole bunch of dandelion tea, which would conserve a little bit of inventory space, and then we could eat / throw away the other dandelion. Let me search these crates, though, before we go anywhere else. We've got some cotton pants and some thin gloves. Can't do anything with that right there, so unfortunately, I think I'm going to leave it behind. On this side, we got ourselves a buckskin. Cool. Got ourselves a buckskin. That'll be alright. Back in the olden days, you actually traded using furs. Those were pretty valuable thing to have around. In general, most people, paper money didn't do them a whole lot of good if you live way out in the frontier. Skins and things of that nature were useful, though, because if you couldn't trade them, you could use them to make other stuff with. So since nighttime appears to be along, I'm going to start a fire real fast. I think we're probably out of tinder, though. So let's run through. We'll make ourselves a little bit of tinder from the tools menu. There it is right there. I figure going all in on the tinder and making 5 of it is probably a decent plan, just so I don't have to worry about it for a while. So there it is. I don't want to set the world on fire, but I would love for this stick to help out with the process of setting like a small portion, a very tiny fraction, a minute percentage of the planet on fire so that I can cook using it. And there we go. Use the fire real fast, warm us on up, purify the rest of that water, make ourselves a little bit more dandelion tea that we can carry around with us, and once that's done, I think I'd be happy to head on down the river and see what happens. So we got 4 tinder remaining. Let me jump on in, and we'll make ourselves some clean water. We got 2 suspicious water on us, so once those are done, I'll see how many dandelion teas. I think I can make 3. I think when I looked, we had like 7 dandelions. My ass is so numb right now. I don't know what is going on, but something about the way that I'm sitting in my chair, my butt cheeks are just like tingly as all hell. And you would think it'd be kind of pleasurable, but nope, tingly butt cheeks are not doing it for me right now. Let's move these to the bag real fast. I don't think that I need to. I'm going to eat one of these just to get the mileage out of it before I use the rest, because I'd like it to be evenly divisible. And now that we got that up and running, what does an ash cake do for me? A dry cake made from corn. Huh. I wonder. I mean, you could put like a cake tin down in the embers of a fire. You can cook all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know. I've seen a couple people. When you go out in the wilderness every now and again, you'll have a cook with you who's responsible for feeding you and to make sure that like things aren't being overcharged. They go out and they shop on behalf of like whoever's sending you out. Oh, they don't stack. Do they? Oh no, they move. Okay, so I gotta put them on ASAP. Oh no, it looks like they don't stack. That's weird. So that's gonna be the downside on those. They don't stack. Ew. I don't like that very much at all. Wonder if that's a bug, because it says ×1 underneath. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm not going to concern myself with it too heavily. Let's just stop doing that then. If it's going to occupy an extra slot for each one that I have, I'm not going to bother with it. That might be a balancing mechanism to keep people from, like, spam creating dandelion stuff. And now what we need to do is we just need to clock out for a little bit, because it looks like the rains came down and the floods came up. And I don't want to be the foolish man on the sand today, so let's go ahead and build our house on the rock, shall we? Or at least build our house on a school bus. Works out fine for me. That is a big-ass crow. Like, seriously, that is like a vulture-sized crow. My God. That thing is huge. Do I have all the things that I need to equip myself with? Like, do I have knit gloves and things like that? It was pants and it was something else in there that I saw. I don't think you can rip this stuff up for cloth. I would love to do it. It would make my life easier. But I've just yet to see any use in carrying around a whole bunch of extra gear with you. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if you were wet, if you could switch clothes and it would dry you if it was not otherwise raining. I think that would be kind of a cool feature to implement in the game. Just because I do that all the time when I'm out in the field. Sometimes you get like super wet, and when you get back to camp, I assure you, it's an old trick that I always tell everybody. Don't go to sleep wet. You will wake up cold, especially if you're in a location where, well, I mean, I've camped in like 18 degrees. That's going to be in Fahrenheit. But I've camped in 17, 18 degrees. And it's pretty deeply unpleasant. You're going to have to sort it out. I mean, the best way to handle a situation like that is by having the proper clothing and then making sure that you don't go to bed with wet socks. Always put on warm socks before you go to bed. That helps out. For some reason, keeping your feet warm helps with your entire body staying warm. I can't explain to you biologically why it works that way, but I can assure you going to bed with warm and dry socks is a very, very good plan. Don't go to sleep with wet socks. The other trick that I always give people is if you have to get dressed at like... You have to... Oh, there's loot right there. My inventory's full, though. If you have to get dressed at like 5 in the morning and it's like 12 degrees out, I will tell you one of the most miserable experiences I've ever had is actually breaking down camp at like 5, 6 in the morning when it's like 14, 15 degrees out. Oh, man, it sucks. Even with like... The problem is when you're wearing gloves, you can't manipulate cordage and you can't break down a campsite without like your fingers being able to fully like articulate. And so you can't wear gloves when you're breaking everything down. At least I couldn't. And so it's... Oof, we are super full up on gear right now. I think I'll probably move that to... Let me go ahead and move these gloves back on in. Those gloves are pretty good. +6? What are my gloves? I have thin gloves on, so I assume they do the identical same thing as this other namesake here. I'm gonna get rid of it. I don't think there's any reason to use up inventory space on some of this stuff. It just seems kind of useless to me. We'll discard it for right now. We've got clean water. Probably a solid plan right now. Our thirst is a little bit high. I'm gonna go ahead and move one of those to me. We'll drink the dandelion tea real quick. That'll help out with the hunger and it'll help out with the thirst simultaneously. There we go. Now that those meters are all full, it's going to clear out an inventory space. We got a couple of buck skins right there. You can make clothing out of them, assuming you have any of the random ingredients that you need in order to get it. Got ash cakes. We don't have enough corn for that. I assume that the ash cake will probably give you like 20 or 30. There's got to be some reason that you would make that. But anyways, the cooks, you can learn all kinds of outdoor cooking techniques from some of the cooks that we have because they learn how to do everything just over an open fire. Like, and so I saw them bake cakes for people's birthdays over open fires. I saw them do all kinds of stuff that was kind of cool. Things that you wouldn't really think, oh, that's going to be the container I just dropped. I was going to say, I don't recognize that from sitting there. Got some yucca on that side. We're still full up, though. Damn, son. Inventory problems, am I right? Let's go ahead and move that over to the raft in case we need to use it for later. Helps ease the symptoms of a flu. We got that. We got that. I'll probably actually... Let me eat those right now because that'll put me up to 92. And that'll also clear out an inventory slot. I may stop picking up dandelions for a little bit. I am a bit of a hoarder, and if you're ever surviving, you should be a hoarder. That's the best way to make sure that you survive, is to think of every possible scenario where things could go really, really wrong. Fortune favors the bold, but it also favors the prepared. So anyways, there it is right there. Take care of business on that side. I think that we've got a couple of inventory spaces all nice and worked out. We got some rags. Do I have any liquor around? I don't have any liquor. I was going to try and make some more band-aids out of that so that I didn't have to use the inventory space anymore. We got night crawlers on this side. It's kind of a tough call because some of this stuff is useful. Like the aloe vera has utility usages, so I'll bring that along. There's always a crate up here that we can search. Very rarely has anything that I want inside of it. But night crawlers will fill up 60 hunger, so that works for me. I'm happy. I'm going to break the episode off right here before we hit the river again. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerdcastle for the next episode of The Flame in the Flood. I will see you all later. Hi, do, everybody. Thanks for joining me.